Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamie Lundblad, Deputy Commissioner for Marketing and Development for the City of Chicago's Department of Cultural Affairs and Special Events, better known as DCASE. On behalf of our Commissioner, Aaron Harkey, and our Mayor, Lori Lightfoot, I'm excited to welcome you to the magnificent Chicago Cultural Center and to share our thanks to Governor Pritzker and the many other elected officials and special guests gathered here today. DCASE supports artists and cultural organizations, invests in the creative economy, and expands access and participation in the arts throughout Chicago's 77 neighborhoods. We produce some of the city's most iconic festivals and events, including the Taste of Chicago. 155,000 attendees at Taste in Grant Park, featuring 33 local food vendors and 40 performers, and 5,200 attendees at 3 Taste neighborhood events. That was the 2022 Taste of Chicago. This summer, thanks to a generous $500,000 grant from the state, we intend to blow past those numbers and make the 43rd edition of Chicago's beloved food and music festival the best in its storied history. In 2023, the Taste will return to its home in Grant Park from September 8th through the 10th, in addition to 3 neighborhood events throughout the summer. In Humboldt Park, June 24th, Pullman Park, July 15th, and Marquette Park, August 5th. We believe moving Taste in Grant Park to the first week of September will extend Chicago's vibrant festival season and spur additional tourism and economic activity to strengthen and celebrate Chicago. On behalf of DCASE and our city's tourism attractions and festivals, thanks again for your generous support. Now it's my great honor to introduce a true champion of arts and culture and tourism across the great state of Illinois, Governor J.B. Pritzker.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Jamie. It's great to see everybody this morning. And of course, it's always a thrill to be here at the Chicago Cultural Center. Alongside me, sitting behind me, are several important folks. I want to make sure I introduce them all. Our Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Director, Kristen Richards, Senator Robert Peters, Senator Sarah Feigenholtz, Representative Margaret Croak, Alderman Brendan Riley, Alderman-elect Bill Conway, and of course, community leaders have joined us here today for this important announcement. In 2021, I launched the Tourism Attraction and Festivals Grant Program to revitalize our tourism industry and strengthen the economic resilience of our communities in the wake of COVID-19. The first round of the program dispersed $10 million to 41 tourist destinations throughout Illinois, each of which leveraged these dollars with other matching funds for a total investment of $26 million to bolster ongoing tourism recovery efforts. The program has been a resounding success all across the state of Illinois. In 2021, 97 million people visited our state, spending more than $32 billion. In the first 3 quarters of 2023 fiscal year, hotel revenues have surpassed all of fiscal year 2022. So 3 months to go. We're on track to hit an all-time record. And I'm proud to say that our tourism campaign developed at the state, called The Middle of Everything, has added more than 2 million more visits, bringing in more than $1 billion in visitor spending since its launch. The state got a 10-to-1 return on investment for our tourism campaign. That's a pretty good investment. We want to keep doing that. Illinois is the best place in the nation to visit. And now that people are finding that out in our marketing, our tourism economy is once again booming. Our Tourism Attraction and Festivals Grants Program has been a vital part of the success that we've experienced by restoring and enhancing the great events across our state that draw visitors from around the world. So today, I'm very pleased to announce that 89 more events across Illinois, from Chicago to Madison to Carbondale, will receive $22.5 million to do what they do best: drive economic development and bring our communities together. Here with me today is Jack Guthman, the board chairman of the Chicago Architectural Biennial, the largest architecture and design exhibition in all of North America. As a grant recipient, the Chicago Architecture Biennial will be able to expand, serving even more Chicago families and visitors, again, from around the world alike. We're also joined by Director of Operations Cecily Langford of Equiticity, a racial justice organization working to improve the lives of Black, Brown, and Indigenous people in communities across the United States. Thanks to the Tourism Attraction and Festivals grant program, Equiticity has the funding to organize a series of 10 community bike rides and festivals to support local small businesses in Chicago's neighborhoods. When we invest in projects like these, it reverberates beyond just one event or one exhibit. It benefits entire communities, from small business owners who get to attract more customers to families with young children who get to enjoy all that Illinois has to offer. And for travelers looking for their next destination, let me tell you that Illinois is the best place in the world to visit. We have everything. You want to soak up some sun at a picturesque lakefront location? Come to Illinois. You want to visit 5 museums and see a fireworks show in the same day? Come to Illinois. You want to experience the hometowns of some of the nation's greatest presidents? Come to Illinois. You want to see and experience culinary delights with the best craft distilleries and finest hospitality and restaurants in the nation? Come to Illinois. We are the heart of the Midwest and, frankly, the heart of the nation. And we are home to the kindest and friendliest people. We couldn't be more excited to welcome you here to our state and our great city. And with that, it is my pleasure to introduce our excellent director of the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, who leads tourism and everything else about the growth of our economy, Kristen Richards.
Thank you, Governor Pritzker. My name is Kristen Richards, and I am the director of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, or DCEO. I have the honor of overseeing the Illinois Office of Tourism. I am proud to stand here today with Governor Pritzker, leaders in the tourism sector, local Chicago leaders, and representatives from the Illinois General Assembly who prioritize Illinois' vibrant tourism industry and have provided us with the funding we need for this program. In Illinois, we are in the middle of everything, and there is something for everyone. The nearly 90 organizations and localities receiving this grant reflect the diversity and vibrancy of our state. This includes large international events, as well as community-based festivals, like the ones we're celebrating in Chicago today, to events downstate in communities like Centralia, who hosts the Balloon Festival, and the Warrensburg Corn Fest, and the Superman celebration in Metropolis. These are events that are often so anticipated that people mark their calendars a year out. Investing in tourism brings communities together, broadens horizons, and truly makes a lasting impact. And we aren't just funding events. We are also supporting theaters, zoos, heritage corridors, museums, docks, and so much more across the state. From outdoor adventures to cultural excursions, it's true that no state has it all quite like Illinois. Every trip to the land of Lincoln helps our local communities. They visit our shops, dine in our favorite restaurants, and see all that Illinois has to offer. It's no surprise that we attract millions of visitors who spend billions of dollars each year. Now, to start planning your Illinois vacation or staycation, please visit enjoyillinois.com. And with that, I would like to introduce a real champion for our state's tourism assets, Senator Sarah Feigenholz.
Thank you, Kristen, and Governor Pritzker and Jamie for your remarks. My name is Sarah Feigenholtz. I spent the years of the pandemic chairing the Tourism and Hospitality Committee, which was an amazing challenge. And Governor Pritzker, who not only is governor, he's also the chief marketing officer of the state of Illinois. I've never seen anybody, I don't think any governor markets their state like our governor does. So he really deserves great praise for that. It was about a year ago that we all gathered at the Shed Aquarium. It was last April 18th, but who's counting? It was rainy, and a bunch of us were asked to come down and speak. I was not sure what the governor was going to unveil, and it was the Jane Lynch campaign in the middle of everything, which was enormously successful, as the governor stated, and it drove billions of dollars back. It resurrected many lost jobs from the pandemic. And as our good friend Sam Toya would say, it put heads in beds and butts in seats in our restaurants and hotels. And, just an FYI, we don't have our budget director here, but $43 billion of commerce teems through the veins of the state of Illinois. Florists, hotels, you name it, every little cog that goes into this amazing wheel that drives revenue into the state. And it's very dear, very dear. And of course, during the pandemic, we suffered significant losses. We had an 8-year sort of run, or maybe even 9 years, of over 110 million visitors coming to the state. And of course, that dropped dramatically, and we're almost completely back. So I am really optimistic about what I'm seeing. And it's these venues, these festivals, these street fairs that are the heart and the breath of our communities in the summertime when the city comes to life. And so every dollar we spend pays dividends when it comes to promoting our city, and of course, making our visitors come back or even move here and relocate, because as we know, Chicago is a culinary destination, and it's, of course, the #1 city. We've stole the James Beard Awards from New York. We are the home of where conventions were born, and of course, we have 2 teams, I only normally will recognize one, who hold World Series titles. I think that I speak for my colleagues who here, Senator Peters and Representative Crow, who we are so fortunate, so very fortunate, to have those top destinations where visitors come in our districts. Lincoln Park Zoo, of course, a recipient, and a free zoo, I think the only in the country, and it is a jewel along the lakefront. And so we're really excited about these further investments. I can't thank DCEO, the governor, and Director Richards enough for recognizing the value of every little piece of what drives tourism in Illinois. I'm honored to call up my colleague to the south, Senator Robert Peters, for remarks.
Good morning. Let me first thank the governor and Director Richards for all the work that they do in terms of selling Illinois. I'm State Senator Robert Peters. I represent the 13th district. So yes, I'm the colleague to the south that stretches from sort of the Gold Coast all the way down along the lakefront to the Indiana border. And what I think about in terms of Illinois and Chicago is that we're a beautiful and special place. And it's great to have a governor who understands that and knows that and lifts up this state and lifts up this city and tells everybody, no matter where they're from, no matter who they are, come to Illinois. Come and visit, get a little bit of a taste, and then decide to make a home here. And what's great about it is it's not just Chicago, even though I represent Chicago and I think it's fantastic. But what makes Illinois and what makes Chicago special is that it's a hub. It is literally, I don't know if you've heard this, it's crazy. It literally is in the middle of everything. And it's crazy. Someone was talking about this, the middle of everything, and it's wild. It really fits here. And that's the fact that if you live in the city, you can be a tourist in the city. If you live in the state, you can be a tourist in the state. You live in the region, you can be a tourist in the city and the state. If you live in this country, you can come here it's literally, again, in the middle of everything. And that means coming to the lakefront or going down to southern Illinois, going to visit, literally different from Metropolis. I mean, if you like Sufjan Stevens, you have Sufjan Stevens. If you like Lupe Fiasco, you have Lupe Fiasco. The diversity and the breadth of that diversity is shown here in Chicago and here in Illinois. So for me, it's something that I'm proud of and I think is special, and we have to do whatever we can to lift it up. And to have this administration saying that front and center is just so important. It gives me something to be proud of. The other thing I want to say is that there's the unique experiences. You can get a good dinner. I tell people all the time, even if you live in the suburbs, you could come out, you can get a good dinner, you can go to Navy Pier, you can go to theater. There is an experience for everybody, and that you can make the most of it, right? I tell my new wife, I recently married after 9 months here, and I say, sometimes we can't take a trip to Western Michigan. We're going to go to a hotel, and we're going to make it a staycation. We're going to make this a moment. And that's what I love about it, and that's what I think is so beautiful. And so as someone who gets to represent the most beautiful resource in the entire world, Lake Michigan, and the lakefront of Chicago, something that is sort of the entry point of what makes this country special, someone who represents a diverse area where you're able to experience, the Black culinary experience and an Italian culinary experience, and you can celebrate St. Patrick's Day downtown, walking, watching the parade. This is something that's special, and to finally have an administration and a General Assembly that says we're going to put this first and foremost, and say to people, whether you're in Florida, California, or New York, come to the best city and the best state in the country, and have a good steak, or go visit a good museum, go watch some great theater, both independent and Broadway. Come to Chicago. It's one of the best places. So I'm honored to be here, and I'm excited to introduce someone who's truly a champion for making the city work and selling the city, and that is Representative Margaret Croak. So thank you.
Thank you, Senator Peters. And if anyone wants a list of really good restaurants, I'm just bragging that the 12th District has some really good ones, and we can talk about it outside. But I'm Margaret Croak. I'm the state representative for the 12th District. I took over for the amazing State Senator Sarah Feigenholtz, so I have very large shoes to fill as it pertains to tourism. And I will say, I think I'm feeling a little nostalgic because we finally have sunshine today. I was driving in on the lakefront, and I was just thinking about how proud I am to be a Chicagoan, how proud I am to live in this city. And I'm looking at the ceiling right now and looking at all of you, and it's really amazing. And when we invest in tourism, we're investing in this city, and I get to show it off to my friends, my families, strangers on the street. And I think that's why tourism is not only incredibly important economically, but it's also incredibly important just from a sense of pride and what we all take value in, and why we live here, why we're proud to be here. So I mentioned, tourism is one of Chicago's leading industries, and it's crucial that we invest in it, especially after the COVID-19 pandemic. We're entering the spring and summer season, and that's when we see our city really come alive, and we get to show what a special place this is and everything that our communities have to offer. We've got unique architecture, as we can see, world-class museums, delicious restaurants, again, happy to provide the list, family-friendly attractions like the Lincoln Park Zoo, which Sarah shouted out, but it's my personal favorite, and they're also a grantee, so I'm excited to have them get some investment. And we've got so much more to make us a leading tourist destination. I'm thrilled to see that we are, adding additional funds, and we'll continue to add additional funds through grant funding through DCEO, which is also my former state agency, so even more pride there. And in 2020 alone, visitor spending generated an economic impact of $59.5 billion. My staff wrote million in my remarks at one point. I was like, no, it's not millions of dollars, it's billions of dollars. And we have to really drive that home, and it's hundreds of thousands of jobs. And these are good paying jobs. These are filled across sectors by people from every corner of our city, every corner of our state. and it's an area of potential growth that we can see for years to come. So as a state rep, I'm always looking at opportunities to bring jobs to Illinois and spur economic development. It's my passion, and the tourism industry is an essential part of that. So thank you again for having me, Governor, here today. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to brag about our city, and I'm also honored to bring up Jack Guthman. Thank you.
Governor Pritzker, Director Richards, Senator Fagenholtz, Senator Peters, Representative Croak, Alderman Riley, Alderman-elect Conway. My name is Jack Guthman. I'm privileged to chair the Chicago Architecture Biennial, and I'm here today representing a splendid board that includes Laura Lipkin, who is here in the front row. And I'm here to thank the governor and the Director Richards, all the staff of CEOE for this remarkable, generous grant that has been bestowed upon us. I also want to thank the DCEO people for their collaboration with our Rachel Kaplan and Marguerite Winter, who's someplace in the room, and the always helpful Jamie of the DK staff. So grateful to them as well for making this event possible. By making this grant, the governor and DCEO underscore that architecture and artists define the soul of the city. They celebrate life and acknowledge darkness. They raise hopes and chronicle sadness. They provide joy and uncover despair. They speak to opportunity and uncover inequity. They mirror the world in which we live. The Chicago Architecture Biennial is a reflection of these voices. CAB is an international forum on urban issues dedicated to presenting innovative ideas that imagine and shape the future of architecture and design. It will again be free and open to the public during its run from September 21 of this year through January 2 of 2024. It hosts visitors from Chicago and vicinity and from across the nation and around the world. It is the largest international survey of architecture in North America. CAB 5 is presented at the Chicago Cultural Center and in partnership with venues across Chicago. The sites include neighborhood arts organizations and community groups located in places such as South Chicago, Bronzeville, Englewood, Lincoln Park, and Edgewater, and there'll be some more. As well as working with larger institutions such as the Art Institute of Chicago, the Museum of Contemporary Art, the National Museum of Mexican Art, the Puerto Rican Arts and Cultural Center, and the DuSable Black History Museum and Education Center. The programs and exhibits presented will explore how contemporary environmental, political, and economic issues are shared across national boundaries, but are addressed differently around the world through architecture, art, and civic participation. Of interest to people of all ages, it should be noted that a broad-based education program in partnership with schools across the area have been and will continue to be a hallmark of the biennial. This year's exhibition, entitled "This is a Rehearsal," will be presented under the artistic direction of the Floating Museum, a Chicago-based collective of artists, designers, poets, and educators. Their work focuses on building connections between art, community, architecture, and public institutions. They will explore how environmental, political, and economic issues transcend borders, and how cities are the sites of perpetual transformation. DCEO's tourism grant to the Chicago Architecture Biennial provides both most welcome financial assistance to CAB, which is what we call the 2023 edition, and signals that the exposition has achieved an important element of its mission. CAB was founded in response to the 2012 Chicago Cultural Plan, which challenged the arts community to establish an event which, and I'm quoting, attracts global attention and highlights Chicago's renowned cultural assets and heritage. We are proud that the state, by making this grant, has acknowledged CAB's efforts to meet this goal. I'm now pleased to present from Equicity, Cecily Langford.
Good morning and buenos dias a todos. My name is Cecily Langford. I'm the Director of Operations at Equiticity. And thank you to Mr. Guthman. You know, there is nothing quite like the joy and liberation of riding a bicycle and being able to go to local shops on friendly streets where you can mingle with the crowd and talk with your neighbors. Yet, in many places in our communities, those joys and sense of freedom are hard to come by. The City of Chicago has identified several neighborhoods under severe distress, which are affected by decades of disinvestment. These are also communities that have suffered from the effects of the pandemic. The Tourism Attractions and Festivals Grant Program, funded by Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity, DCEO, Equiticity and Main Street America will together help develop that treasured sense of community in our city. With support from DCEO, Equiticity will enhance the impact of our established community mobility rituals by adding an event at the start point and a street-based community festival at the end point of each of Equiticity's rides. A total of 10 community bike ride festivals are planned for April, May, and June. Communities where the ride festivals will be held include North Lawndale, Austin, Bronzeville, Englewood, Auburn Gresham, South Chicago, Southeast Chicago, Humboldt Park, Roseland, and West and East Garfield. Our community bike ride festivals will include the participation of local small businesses, food trucks, and pop-up opportunities for our emerging and amazing entrepreneurs. These vibrant community celebrations will include live performances by local musicians and artists and carry into the concluding events after the rides are over. Equiticity would like to thank our partners, especially Main Street America, who plays a key role in this endeavor with its robust network of chambers of commerce, business association, and community development corporations. Equiticity is grateful for all of our partnerships. Our theory of action at Equiticity is thus: community bicycle ride festivals at the neighborhood level contribute to growing trust in our communities. When trust increases in our neighborhoods, perceptions of violence decrease. A reduction in the concerns around neighborhood violence moves people to walk, bike, shop, and explore their communities. More attractive and hyperlocal explorations make our streets more vibrant. More vibrant streets attract increased retail, leading to greater job creation in our neighborhoods and contributes to reducing violence in our communities. We appreciate and are very grateful for the support of the Illinois DCEO that helps make this virtuous circle possible. As one of Equiticity's community mobility rituals participants said, better than I could say, Equiticity makes rituals based on love and reclaiming life and our neighborhoods. Together, we are empowered to make a better community. Let's ride. Now I'd like to invite Governor Pritzker back to the podium to take questions at this time. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Cecily. I don't know if we have members of the media here, but if we do, happy to take any questions. Yes. Well, and we've recently seen retail coming back, and this is an effort starting in the midst of COVID-19 and coming out of it to bring people back into the downtowns all across the state of Illinois, not just our downtown, but you see town squares, main streets across Illinois that had to put their festivals aside during the worst parts of the pandemic, and it's very hard to revive these festivals once they've been, closed down for a year or two. And so this was an effort starting with, just reviving them, getting them back up and running. And then now I think what we're seeing is that they're back up and running, but just need another extra push to get back to their full bloom that they were in before the pandemic. So we're really excited about it. We've seen a lot of success all across the state and even right here in the city of Chicago with the many festivals that are now being funded. Thank you, everyone. Oh, do you have another question? Yeah. The festivals, and I certainly would be happy to invite Cecily or Kristen from DCO back to talk about that, but I will say they make grant application for these funds and present, how they intend to use those funds, but happy to turn it back over to
Governor Pritzker is quite right. So our agency will work directly with the grantees in order to identify a scope and budget and ensure that their projected costs are within that scope and budget that they've provided the department.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Thanks for coming.